We've tested over 50 AI tools in my high ticket coaching business in the last 6 months. We went a little nuts. Only 5 of them actually proved useful. So today I'm gonna show you which 5 made the cut and how we use them every day to run my $100 million coaching company. So if you're a coach or expert or online business owner, you feel like you don't know which AI tools to use and you have all this crazy FOMO, stay with me because I'm gonna give you the goods. All right, I'm Russ Ruffino. This channel is about how I built an AI-powered $100 million coaching company that fits in a backpack and what I learned scaling our business past $1 million a month. I love my wife. I love my life. Hopefully you can learn something from all this, but of course your results depend totally on you. Let's dive in. Now, I've put together a list of these tools and the most powerful ways I use them, like including my key prompts. So if you just want to steal my prompts, you can do that. So comment list under this video and we will send you the link, right? Do it right now so you don't have to remember to do it later. All right, let's go through the 5 tools. Tool number 1 is Claude. And the first move is to build your second brain. Now, Claude is the AI that we use for literally anything that involves words or copywriting or thinking. So that means every email, every script, every sales page, every strategic decision in my company goes through Claude before it ever gets put out into the world. And that replaced what used to be an entire department of like 50 million little voices that were inside my crazy ADHD entrepreneur brain. Now I just talk to Claude. So that's pretty good. Went from like 50 voices in my head to 1 voice in Claude. So if you're gonna use Claude, go big, don't screw around, spend the money, get the max plan. You want the biggest brain possible. Size is everything. Don't let anybody tell you different. Now, before I hear you say, Russ, I tried ChatGPT, everything it wrote was AI slop, everything sounded like a robot. Actually, I agree with you, you're right. And ChatGPT has been hot garbage for copywriting since basically day 1. So I want you to understand something here. Everybody jumped on ChatGPT in the beginning. And it's not like ChatGPT was awesome for copywriting and then Claude sort of leapfrogged it. Claude was the best platform from day 1. It's always been the best. So if your AI generated copy sucks, step 1 is to get rid of ChatGPT and start using Claude. Step 2 is to train Claude to actually communicate in your voice, and not just your voice, the most compelling and persuasive version of your voice. So I don't just want like, oh, I just woke up Russ. I want like 4 espresso shots, 60 milligrams of methylene blue Russ, $100 million copywriter Russ. Now, when most coaches type into these tools, they type, look, write me a post about mindset, make it conversational, but authoritative or something like that. And then the machine hands them back some ridiculous AI garbage like, you know, in today's fast-paced coaching landscape, authenticity is the new currency, right? That post is a waste of data. Everybody's AI content sounds identical. And big part of the reason why is that you're describing yourself the same way as everybody else. You're giving it tones. Well, write this conversational, write this authoritative, make this professional, make it approachable. So the machine is giving all the same output to the same people. So here's the fix. AI imitates 1,000 times better than it obeys. So stop telling it how you want it to write and instead just give it real examples. And not just your written content either, your emails and stuff. Give it actual transcripts. Give it transcripts of you actually talking, transcripts of your podcast, transcripts of your coaching calls with your clients, and paste it in there and then have it deconstruct it. Cool, Claude, look at this, analyze it. Tell me, how do I open? How do I teach? How do I close? Deconstruct my voice. Tell it what to say. And then it will deconstruct your voice and it will create a version of your voice that is unique to you. And tell it what to say, and most importantly, tell it what not to say. So in fact, in the list of AI tools that I have for you today, I actually have a little bonus. I've got a list of phrases in there that are dead giveaways for AI slop. So paste that into Claude too and tell it, Claude, never say these things. And again, if you want that, just comment list under this video. All right, now that's writing. What about thinking? So the key to getting Claude to think well is just to plug it into every data source you have. Have it plugged into your Gmail, your Notion, your Slack, your Fathom, everything. Anywhere you take notes, anywhere you receive emails, anywhere you communicate with clients. Claude connects to like all of those tools natively, right? So I paste our numbers into Claude. I give it our offers. I give it our payment plans, right? And I have it analyze any new offer I'm putting together. And the standing orders I give Claude are, don't agree with me. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Be critical. Tell me what I'm missing. And then I argue with it. I argue with Claude a lot. And that allows me to pressure test the decisions that I'm making in my company way before any human ever sees them. All right. Now, the second tool is vidIQ. And the move there is to score before you shoot. So if you're making content on video, long form, short form, whatever, vidIQ does two jobs. Number one, it tells us what people are actually searching for. And number two, it helps us with our titles and our ideation, and it actually scores them. So we have a rule on my channel. If a title scores above 75, that's a good idea to make the video. If it's below 75, we keep reworking the title, right? And reworking the idea, no exceptions. So vidIQ does way more than that. It does it all. It gives you topics, gives you keywords, gives you titles. It actually will identify and monitor your competitors. It will find out what's trending. It is incredibly valuable if you want to be using organic YouTube for your client attraction. Because look, here's what most coaches do. They just film whatever they kind of feel like talking about, and then they upload it, and then they go, well, YouTube doesn't work, right? YouTube works fine. The problem is there's a science to video ideation, and you don't want to just be guessing. Right? Guessing is expensive because making a video like this, honestly, is a pain in the ass. You got to be really scientific about this. You got to look at like how Mr. Beast operates. He's the biggest YouTuber on the planet. He's not going to film a video until the title works, the thumbnail works. They're split testing all of those things. The video comes last, honestly. He just figures out what people are going to click, and then he makes the thing, right? That's the opposite of what most coaches do. You just talk about whatever you want to talk about, and then you cross your fingers and hope that it gets clicked. So you have to understand there is a science to this. And if you, like me, know nothing about that science, that's where vidIQ comes in. So we run the ideation, the titles, the keywords, all of it goes through vidIQ. And then we use Claude to write the first draft of the scripts. And then I polish it and I rewrite it. So our total time to ideate and shoot a video is like an hour, right? And since every video lives on YouTube forever, it's an always on client attraction tool. So now you got the title, you got the script, everything is designed to be candy to your target audience. Now, how do we get the click? And that brings us to that third tool, which is thumbnailcreator.com. So this is owned by my friend Alaric Heck, full disclosure, but it's what we use to make our thumbnails. So if you like our thumbnails, that's how we do it. If you think our thumbnails suck, disregard this section of the video. So the thumbnail is what gets your video clicked, right? That little image is essential because if nobody clicks your video, no one's ever going to hear a word you say, right? And all the work you did on the video was for nothing. And I know how thumbnails go for most coaches. You probably are doing it inside Canva. You pull up a Canva template and you're sitting there manually like tinkering and all this other stuff, right? And then you end up with a thumbnail that looks like Stevie Wonder designed it. Thumbnail Creator fixes this. You actually put in your video URL, and Thumbnail Creator generates thumbnail variations for you. 8 of them, 10 of them, 12 of them, whatever. So the feature that matters the most for us is style cloning. So it looks at the thumbnails that are already on your channel. It'll build new thumbnails to match in accordance with best practices so that your channel can keep a pretty consistent look without you having to like art direct every single image. And it's actually pretty good at creating AI images of your face too, if you feed it good quality images to work from. So have it generate a bunch of thumbnails. Pick one you like, pick 3 you like. And if you want to edit anything, use ChatGPT for that. ChatGPT is great at editing text, editing, the background, whatever it is. So it takes us about 10 minutes per thumbnail, and we don't have to hire a designer. Now, what you want in your thumbnails, what makes a good thumbnail is incongruence. What does that mean? So vidIQ is going to give you a cool, compelling, like SEO optimized title. The thumbnail needs to get noticed and it needs to make people curious enough to click. So to do that, you want a striking, bright, high contrast thumbnail with about 4 or 5 words on it max. Now those words, if you possibly can, should contradict what the title says. So if your title is something like the best AI tools for coaches, maybe your thumbnail is you like looking panicked and the words AI broke my brain. You see, there's a mismatch between the title and the thumbnail. That is the incongruence. The incongruence drives curiosity. Curiosity gets clicks. Got it? So now you're making content in your own voice using Claude on topics people search for, packaged so they click. Here's the problem that you really need to solve next. You're making every piece of content once and you're using it once. So the next tool is what we use to multiply our content. And that fourth tool is Notebook LM from Google. So Notebook LM is incredible. It takes content that you've already made and converts it into other formats. So maybe you give it like a webinar recording, or you give it your last 5 YouTube videos or your podcast interviews, and then it will spit out slide decks, video overviews. It'll even create like a fake podcast with a male and female host that are talking about your ideas, talking about your stuff.
It's basically like having a personal AI researcher in your back pocket.
Okay, yeah, I've heard a little about this.
It's insane. It's incredible. If you haven't played with it, you got to go play with it. So like if you're a coach, you're already generating tons of content. You're working with your clients, you're doing Q&A calls, you're doing all that stuff. Notebook LM lets you package that into bite-sized formats you can give away as lead magnets, right? So slide decks, again, podcasts, short little mini videos, and it does all of that for you. So let's say that you do a one-on-one session with a client. It's a really great session. You take the transcript, you throw it in Notebook LM. Notebook LM will create a custom slide deck of what you talked about in about 2 minutes. Send that to your client and their jaw just drops. It's insane. So look, you don't have a content problem. You're already making content. You just have to repurpose it into other formats. You're already saying stuff that your audience wants to hear, and it's just sitting there in your recordings, right? And then you never touch it again. So pop it into Notebook LM. Right? And here's why Notebook LM specifically, instead of asking a chatbot, it will work from the different sources that you give it. So let's say you've done a few different podcasts about like 3 kind of sort of related things, but not exactly related. You can upload those 3 podcast episodes and it will find a common theme and build a slide deck based on that common theme. And you can even ask it to give it a specific look and feel. You can say, look, give me a slide deck based on these 3 podcasts and give it, I don't know, a safari theme. And I swear to God, it will. It will give you like maps and pictures of animals. It's just incredible, right? So that's Notebook LM. Get in there, start playing with it. It's nuts. It's gonna blow your mind. Now, everything I've shown you so far is marketing. And none of it is gonna pay you a dime until you have an actual human being on a call with you to sell them into your high ticket stuff. So the 5th tool is the one that actually made a huge difference in our sales numbers. And that 5th tool, you might already be using it, is Fathom Note Taker. Now there's a bunch of note takers out there. There's like Otter, there's a bunch of them, but Fathom by far is the best and the most useful in my opinion. So Fathom records every call. It just sits on your Zoom call, it joins, it records them, it transcribes them, summarizes them. There's a free tier, but the paid tier is insane. And it actually has unlocked a lot of revenue for us. So here's why. Your sales calls are the most valuable data in your entire business. And we were always recording our calls from day one, but in the past we had to sit there, we had to listen to the entire call. And it was really difficult to get my sales directors to actually do that because it sucks. And also, if you're not reviewing your calls and just relying on memory, you can create all kinds of fantasies about what actually happened on the call, but the transcript never lies and the recording never lies. You know what I mean? So when we talk to our salespeople, they'd be like, oh yeah, it was a great call. I barely talked. I really let them share. And then we look at the transcript and we find out, oh, the salesperson was talking 82% of the time. So they talked the sale away. Sarah and I just watched this movie called Moneyball with Brad Pitt. It's a great movie and I don't give a shit about baseball, okay? But anyway, in the movie, it's the Oakland A's and, they used to pick players based on sort of gut instinct and everything. And in Moneyball, they actually start looking at the players' numbers and their stats. And they were able to handpick players based on a deep reading of their stats and get some players that were a lot less expensive, but actually performed really well. And they went on the longest win streak in baseball. So when it comes to your sales calls, you want to bring the data, not the drama. The transcript doesn't lie. You take the Fathom transcript, you paste it into Claude, and then you ask it 3 questions. What was my talk time ratio? Did I get a real commitment to fix the problem? And where did I start pitching too early? And if you watched our last video on the sales call opening, the sale is won or lost in the first 10 minutes. So by analyzing those transcripts using Fathom and Claude, you actually get to see your first 10 minutes. So here's your move. Get Fathom, install it before your next call so it is automatically recording every single Zoom call you do. And then take your sales calls and your coaching calls, run them through Claude, and just ask Claude, what do you see here? What can I do better? right? Now, keep your sales calls, analyze them. I probably wouldn't keep a huge archive of sales calls just hanging around forever. There's no reason to, but use them, learn from them, analyze them, delete them. And it's going to make it so much easier for you to give real laser targeted feedback to your sales team, or if you're doing the calls yourself, to find out where the sale was won or lost. All right, so the 5 tools: Claude, build your second brain; vidIQ, get the score before you shoot, get it above 75 or rewrite it; Thumbnail Creator, get those high contrast, incongruent thumbnails; Notebook LM, that's the one that's really gonna blow your mind. Multiply your content. If you haven't played with that, it is like magic. And then 5, Fathom, record every call and then use Claude to analyze those sales calls. Now remember, again, if you want all 5 of those in one document with the links and some really cool prompts that we use, just comment the word list and I'll send it to you right away. All right, now, here's the most important piece of this whole video. As you know, when I teach you guys stuff, there's always a spiritual upgrade that makes this work. And I know you're thinking, Russ, dude, this is a list of AI tools. Let's like not try to make a whole spiritual thing out of it, guru. But look, I'm telling you right now, every single problem or challenge you will ever have in your business has a mindset or spiritual component to it, because your business, and actually your entire life, is just a reflection of what you're thinking and feeling every single day. And if you don't fix this, all the strategy is not going to help you. You got to fix this. So here's your spiritual North Star. Tinkering with AI tools is not going to save your business. What's going to save your business is a client attraction system that actually works. So do you have an offer that's $5,000 to $15,000? If not, you better make one. And do you have a system to consistently enroll clients into that offer at the scale you want? That's it, right? Until you have those 2 things, all this AI stuff is just nonsense. It's literally rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. It is just mentating and analyzing and crunching all this data and then not producing anything. And there's this huge temptation to hide in AI, to get lost in it, to have Claude or ChatGPT just kind of tell you everything that you want to hear so you can spin your wheels and you don't have to go into the real world and hear the one thing you don't want to hear, the word no. But the more no's you hear, the faster you get to yes. If you don't have a high ticket offer for sale, you're not hearing the word no. You're not hearing anything. So to use AI, you want to use it as a means to help you sell faster, not as a way to avoid selling. Sales solve everything. The more you sell, the faster you get to the income and freedom and impact you want. Otherwise, you're just getting ready to get ready. So remember this, please. You do not have 100 problems to solve in your business. You just have one. How can you turn clicks into clients at the scale that you want? That's it. When you fix that, everything works. If you don't fix it, nothing works. And if you want to fix that problem and you're wondering how I can help, there's basically 2 things I can do for you. Number 1, I can take your expertise, we can turn it into that $5,000 to $15,000 coaching program that you can run from anywhere in the world. And then number 2, once we have that, we can install our $100 million AI-powered client attraction system right into your business to bring you the clients that you want. So if you want to know more about that, what that looks like, there's a link in the description of the video. Click that. It's going to take you to a page where I will walk you through the entire thing in detail. And last but not least, comment list if you want to get your hands on that list of AI tools and the prompts that I use. And finally, I release videos like this like once or twice a week. So tell me in the comments, what is your favorite AI tool right now? Did I miss one? Is there one that you're using that you absolutely love? This is your chance to show off and look like a badass. Post in the comments, what is your favorite AI tool? Maybe I'll do a teardown of it and we can look at it and see, does this sucker actually work? And we can exchange ideas. We can all get smarter together. All right, I'm Russ. I'll catch you in the next video.